We are back with this 3-liter Hurricane, this very nice looking brand new 2025 Ram Rebel. And today we're gonna figure out just how fuel efficient this engine is in the real world. Welcome back, I'm Alex, and I love getting to test out this inline-6 twin turbocharged Hurricane engine. Today we're doing fuel economy. And well, that is a reason why apparently the 5.7 Hemi is now in the trash bin, because it was too inefficient, where this 3-liter engine should be a little bit more efficient. At least that's what we are gonna hope to see. Now, I actually have not tested the 5.7 Hemi on my fuel economy loop, so that will be coming very, very soon. But ideally we get this smaller displacement twin turbocharged engine to beat some of the larger V8s, but I do have my doubts. In this blue Ram Rebel, we have the standard output 3-liter Hurricane engine, putting out 420 horsepower, 469 pound-feet of torque, and the EPA apparently rates this engine truck combo at 19 miles per gallon combined, as well as an impressive 24 miles per gallon on the highway, which I'm very excited to see if that is the truth. Now, just before we head out on my 85-mile fuel economy loop, which consists of 3 sections, city, highway, and country, ideally giving us a very nice combined fuel economy score, we do need to talk about this truck and some of its disadvantages. This is a Ram Rebel. It comes with 392 gears, which is going to negatively impact our fuel economy, at least on paper. We also have some pretty darn aggressive Goodyear Duratrac tires, which again is going to negatively impact our fuel economy. So just keep those things in mind when we get our real fuel economy score at the end of the video. We're full of fuel, we reset our fuel economy. It is time to commence the journey of this fuel economy loop. All right, city, I try to keep my speed at 35 miles an hour depending on traffic, stoplights, and so forth. And that is the main reason why most vehicles are inefficient in the city. It's that constant stopping and starting. But with turbocharged engines in these pickup trucks, this is where they should shine, because at these slower speeds, we don't need to use the boost, the turbos aren't spooling up, and we can really rely on that smaller displacement to help save us fuel, where those big V8s just don't have that option. We also possess start-stop technology on this engine. As you guys can see, we're at a stoplight. And then once you come off the brake, engine fires back up and we're on our way. One thing about this 3-liter Hurricane engine that sets it apart from the competition's turbocharged engines is its very high fuel pressure. This thing is running over 5,000 PSI of injection pressure, which is almost double what the EcoBoost engines are running. And because of that, it allows for a much cleaner, more thorough burn of the fuel, which should, in theory, allow us to save a little bit more fuel. Another thing I really like about this Hurricane engine is we don't have cylinder deactivation. Looking directly at the 5.7 Hemi, that had the MDS system, which would shut the 8-cylinder engine into basically 4 cylinders, or deactivate 4 cylinders, depending on driving condition, especially in the city. All right, we are just leaving the city. We're currently averaging 19.1 miles per gallon, which is definitely in the bottom half of our engines, sitting around the 6.2-liter V8, as well as the 3.4-liter twin turbocharged Toyota engine. But we got a lot of runway ahead of us, and I feel like this will improve. Next up and ahead of us, we have our country section. We put the truck at 56 miles an hour, or 90 kilometers an hour, and we let the truck do its thing. Ideally, we will really gain back some of that fuel economy, but we'll see. At these speeds with these turbocharged engines, this is where they should in fact be the most efficient, because we're not going too quick where there's a lot of wind resistance, yet we are going fast enough that we can be in our top gear, 8th gear, and be really low in the RPM band. So we're not going to be boosting up those turbos, but we are going to be really low in terms of engine speed. So ideally we should see some good fuel economy, but currently we're sitting at 19.4 miles per gallon, which is honestly not that good. You would like to think with an undersquare engine like this inline-6 is, with that very long stroke, that natural torque generation, that going over these hills, we won't need to really use those turbos at these speeds, and we can really rely on that long stroke, that natural torque generation. But again, our fuel economy is just not as good as I would have expected. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will redo this test with a normal Ram 1500 with a 3-liter Hurricane, but These trucks are hard to come by, and this Rebel just kind of fell in my lap and I couldn't say no. So I figured we'd test out the fuel economy just to dip our toes in the water, see what we're kind of getting. All right, update, we're still in our country section. Our fuel economy is not good. 19 miles per gallon, that is the worst out of any truck we've reviewed. 6.2 liter V8s have done much better than this. And something else I've noticed going over these hills, these ridges, is that the boost is just so sporadic. It just, one moment it's not there, the next moment it throws you right back into your seat. Where the EcoBoost engines, like a Ford F-150 driving by us right now, and I've driven many on this route, their boost control is just much more seamless, and I don't know if this is why our fuel economy is so bad. We are just about finished our country section. We are sitting at 18.9 miles per gallon. That is unfortunately the worst result we've seen with any pickup truck I've run on this route. Even the iForce 3.4 liter Toyota Tundra engine, which was bad, was better than this. I mean, you can blame it on the tires. Maybe that takes 1, 2, maybe 3 miles per gallon of difference, but still, this is pretty far off the rest of the pack. The V8s are miles ahead of this. Even like the 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine is miles ahead of this. Even the 3.5 liter EcoBoost is way better, or much more fuel efficient apparently, than this engine. So we'll see what happens on the highway, which we're just about to jump on. Got our cruise control set at 70 miles an hour, and we'll let the truck continue to do its thing. And traditionally, this is where we see the turbocharged engines, at least on my towing loop, kind of fall flat on their face, because at these speeds going over the hills on my loop, they're forced to use those turbos, spool up more boost, and then that needs to be met with more fuel, which results in poor fuel economy. And I mean, so far, we're seeing that exactly. Now, Stellantis says that they have engineered and designed this engine to potentially help avoid this. Traditionally, and we have seen this on our fuel economy loop with all the turbocharged engines, at 70 miles an hour with all that wind resistance coming over the truck, going over hills, in order to maintain our speed, the turbos tend to spool up and push more air into the engine, which is met with more fuel, making them less efficient. What Stellantis has done is utilize their low bore-to-stroke ratio with an inline 6, you get that naturally long stroke, as well as very high fuel pressure, about double what the EcoBoosts are running, just over 5,000 PSI. That in combination naturally lowers cylinder detonation or cylinder knock. And what that means is this engine doesn't need to retard its timing as much as those EcoBoosts or other turbocharged engines. And this results in potentially less fuel usage. So I'm really interested to see how this truck does on the highway. And this is why we get these trucks out in the real world, to see what actually happens, because yes, on paper that sounds great, but our fuel economy just does not really reflect that very well, where we have EcoBoost engines that ran this exact same route, the same speed, yet they had much better fuel economy. Well, we're coming to the end of our highway loop, and we are averaging 18.9 miles per gallon, which is, again, not very good. It is the worst that we've seen on this fuel economy loop thus far. And well, the spec 24 miles per gallon on highway for apparently this engine, this truck combination, we just are not seeing it. Now, again, this is what the computer is saying. We will 100% be doing the math, filling up and calculating by hand what our actual fuel economy was. But from all the trucks I've driven, usually the computer is somewhat pretty accurate, so we'll have to wait and see. Well, we made her back to the gas station, 18.9 miles per gallon. We'll fill her up with fuel, and we'll do some real math. It's our first bump right there. We'll wait 30 seconds and we'll top her up. All right, 3, 2, 1. That is our final fuel economy. 17.562 liters of fuel used. Well, it's time to talk about results. 17.9 miles per gallon is the final calculated result with that Ram Rebel in the 3-liter Hurricane, which is a little bit surprising and equally disappointing. Now, I can already hear you guys screaming at me. That's a Ram Rebel. It comes with 392 gears, more aggressive, heavier all-terrain tires, as well as a 1-inch lift. And you're not wrong. So first of all, we are filming this a little bit later because, well, I actually smashed my camera lens and had to buy a new one. Secondly, this is my own Ram Power Wagon because I ran this truck on my fuel economy loop this morning just to give a little bit of context to that Ram Rebel. Thirdly, I will 100% redo this test with a normal Ram 1500, so fear not, and it should be a rather good comparison. As for this Power Wagon, we ran our fuel economy loop at 15.4 miles per gallon, meaning that the Rebel was about 16% more fuel efficient, but you'd like to see that number a little bit greater because this Power Wagon is running the exact same tires as that Rebel. It's about 4 inches taller. It weighs about 2,000 pounds more. We have more aggressive 410 gears. And lastly, we have the 6.4 Hemi in here, which is over twice the displacement of that 3-liter Hurricane, yet we were only 16% more fuel efficient than this very, very thirsty Ram Power Wagon. So maybe, just maybe, that 3-liter Hurricane isn't as efficient as you'd think. And ignoring that equally disappointing 3.4-liter I-Force engine, the next closest truck in terms of fuel economy to that Ram Rebel with a 3-liter Hurricane is literally this Power Wagon. Let me know what you guys think. Always love hearing from you guys. Are you excited about this 3-liter Hurricane? Do you actually think it's gonna be fuel efficient? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like cool stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe. We always have cool stuff planned. Anyways, enough of me. We'll see you in the next freaking video.